Richard Ellis here with columnist Bob Robb. A judge declined to weigh in on whether the Republican Party's chair elections were valid, saying that the political party is a voluntary organization that can form and disband at will. Bob, you don't agree with that, but you kind of think maybe the political parties should be treated that way.
Well, I agree with Judge Kemp that it wasn't appropriate for a judge to step in and settle this intra-party squabble that's taking place. However, I think he sort of exaggerated the extent to which our political parties are private organizations. If they want ballot access, there's a whole series of restrictions and requirements that state law provides. And some of them deal with the composition of the executive committee of the party and when these elections are to be held. So I think he was right to be circumspect, but I kind of used it to raise the issue as to whether we don't need to have a sharper separation of political party and state to make parties more of the purely voluntary associations that the judge described them as.
Right, and one way you describe it or recommend is essentially ditching the primary system, which has been a thought for some time, but you say it's losing favor in favor of sort of a tiered system of voting?
Yes, it's ironic and disappointing to me. I think that the conditions are now ripe in Arizona for a nonpartisan top two primary system where political parties have no official role whatsoever in who are candidates for office. Like any other group of people that share political interests, they can try to influence the votes of others, but no official role, no preferential ballot access, no greater right to participate. While the conditions are right for this in Arizona, given what's happened in the Arizona Republican Party, given the threats to Kyrsten Sinema from the left, the reformers have abandoned that, which was their idea 4 years ago, and now want this ranked choice system, where instead of just making one decision at a time about which politician you like, you got to make a series and rank them according to preference. And then you have a system where through a variety of rotations, you get to a final result. And to me, that will lead to less informed decision-making. Most people have better things to do than fixate on politics. Asking them to come up with one top choice at a time, I think, is sufficient, rather than rank ordering a whole bunch of politicians simultaneously.
And it's worth noting, I mean, you haven't devoted an entire column to the goings-on at the Veterans Memorial Coliseum for probably your own reasons, but you do take a swipe at the so-called audit taking place at the Coliseum. Do you see it, as others have, as sort of a threat to democracy, or how do you see that process taking place?
I don't know that I would go as far as to say that it's a threat to democracy, because it has zero credibility. And from the beginning, I said that whatever is produced will have zero credibility. In this column, I call it a farce. It is the threat to democracy was Trump's effort to overturn the results of the election by getting legislatures like in Arizona to not acknowledge the official results and instead send Trump electors. That was a threat to democracy. This further erodes confidence in our elections in ways that are unseemly. But I think it's been so thoroughly discredited from the get-go that no one who wasn't an ardent conspiracy theorist from the beginning is going to find it influential at all. Instead, I think its primary effect is to further damage significantly the Republican brand in Arizona politics.
Which gets us back to the original point of the column, your thought that they should just abandon the primary system. I think you used the word yo-yos to describe it. in the primary system. Always good for a vocabulary lesson.
Well, thanks.